What's going on?
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding. From the words I spit, so sharp, so freezing. So cold, behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in ceilings. I just need a taste and my mind starts feeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust for change, I just love the feeling. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. Cause I'ma live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll still be winning. I live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll still be winning. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon.
God, it feels like we've been gone for more than a month just by having last weekend off.
Right?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Dead Air Live on the Dead Air Full Spectrum channel. It is our Sunday night show. Monday night, we'll talk about that later on. Our Sunday night show, where the next 2 hours, phenomenal guests and topics in and around the world of the paranormal. My name is George Lopez. With me always, Mr. Ken DaCosta. And thank you guys for joining us tonight. Hope you had a phenomenal Memorial Day weekend. Ken, I know you kept busy as you always do.
Yeah, lots to do around the house, and it was nice spending a little time with family and then coming home and doing nothing. And we're in a great place to just watch the town's fireworks out over the water. So a really nice evening and a good way to celebrate those who have given so much for us, yourself included, George. Your service is much appreciated. And to all the veterans out there who have made our place a better place to live in, we thank you for that. But we had a little team organization meeting today, sunny and 77, and absolutely beautiful.
Nice.
Absolutely
nice.
beautiful.
Yeah, we're sweltering down here, but what are you going to do about that? That's all. We are simulcast, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are listening to us on kgradb.com. It's also good to know you have kgradb.com /dead air if you're traveling. You don't get a chance to watch us. You can also find us on Twitter, Global Radio Live. Also YouTube, which is what you're watching right now. But if you're listening, KGRA, you can find us at Dead Air Nation. Facebook, Dead Air Full Spectrum. Our Twitter for our show is Dead_Spectrum. And of course, you guys always have the opportunity. We'll talk about this a little bit tonight. Our Patreon account, which again, tomorrow night is our Monday town hall. And I think you guys are missing out on some really fun stuff. And tomorrow night, we're going to be talking collective consciousness with Terry Rohde. He's going to be our guest joining us at Patreon tomorrow. So make sure you guys do check it out. But we are here tonight to have some fun with what I would consider a cornerstone, in this field. Jason Hawes was on about 3-4 weeks ago and said Tim Shaw is constantly being, unfortunately or fortunately for Tim, but being mistaken for Jason Hawes's father. I don't understand that part of it, but it's just
I expect a nice gift this year, Jay.
yeah. So, but we are looking forward to having a discussion tonight with this individual, a man of many hats, and again, this is somebody that if you are part of the paranormal field, if you are on social media, he's popping up always everywhere. Lately, he's pumping up everywhere too, which is quite incredible. The man is on this storm to get that. Listen, I understand once I got diagnosed with diabetes how important your diet and your health is, but it's wonderful to have him join us tonight. Ken, if you want to get this started with the introduction, sir.
I would. It would be a pleasure to. We're welcoming Tim Shaw tonight, and he's been a longtime researcher in the fields of the paranormal and the metaphysical, growing up in Western New York State, where it all started, and having relatives in the Lilydale Spiritualist Assembly, a spiritualist community. It was only natural for him to develop an interest in these mystical fields. Having been brought up Roman Catholic and Spiritualist, he has great insights into the miraculous as well as the phenomena of the worlds around us. But let's bring Tim on right now because there's something. Hang on, guys. Just bear with me for 1 second. I gotta go. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, in the meantime, we got to do something to fill the time. How about this? There we go. An audience applause. Okay. Oh my God.
God, I love you too. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Oh my
We're
God.
good.
You know what? I just said off the air, Satori, I told your old man that I'm a good judge of horseflesh when it comes to mediumship. You got it, kid. You got it. And Cody,
you.
I love Cody because Cody is, I first met him with through Dustin Perry, and I'll tell you what, they were stranded. Dustin hit a like, I don't know, what was a reindeer or something in the southern tier of New York State, and they crashed, and they had to go and they had to come right to my neighborhood actually to pick up their rental car. So we took them to dinner, and that's where I met Cody. And Cody is like a collector, and I love the two of them, and I love seeing the two of you guys at Mansfield. And you know what? I miss you guys, and you guys should be the poster children of what and who the paranormal field, the up and coming people in the paranormal field should be. And that's no BS. You know, I don't blow smoke up anybody's rear end. You know what I mean? I don't do that. So you guys are it. I love you guys. And what a treat.
We love you, and we wanted to say hi, and we don't want to take up the show too much, but I just heard that you were coming on, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to see Tim Shaw. It's because not like we haven't seen you recently or anything, but I just love hanging out.
For what? 20 seconds here, 30 seconds there. Hey, listen, I had to stand in line to say hi to you guys. The line was like 1,000 people, 1,000 people long, and I was standing in line. I was just like everybody else. I was standing in line going, I can't wait to see the kids. Oh my
You're
God,
just buttering us up on air. Cut it out.
Never. I love you guys so much. And you know what? We've got to someplace somehow plan some like little secret adventure that we can go out there and just do a little bit of work so we can go and I got to tell you guys something. Another thing. I'm going to throw this right out at you. I love when the two of you guys work together because it's like we were at Mansfield, right? We're up there, and I'm pretty jaded, guys. I've been around for a long time. I'm jaded. I've seen like a lot of shit out there. These two, they're like nothing's really going on, and the two of them get out there and they look into each other's eyes, and they go, and Satori goes, please contact us. And the lights start flashing. I'm going, this is amazing. These two kids are like crazy. I haven't seen this stuff since I was a kid, like back in Lilydale and with the seance circles. Oh no, I'm not going to stop it. I'm going to tell you the truth.
Well, I'll let you get back to the show, but we just wanted to say hi.
Love you guys. Love you guys from the bottom of my heart. Love you guys. And Cody, good hair, baby. Keep that hair going.
We'll see you in Michigan.
We'll see you up in Michigan. I can't wait.
All
Maybe,
right.
maybe we'll actually sit at the same table someplace and actually talk for like
Please?
10 minutes instead of
Please.
5 or 3.
I know,
Yes.
right?
Is Ken charging you rent yet?
No. Cut it out.
No.
Hi, George.
Hi, sweetheart. How are you?
Take
Cody,
care, you guys.
Listen out.
I love you guys. Take
Yeah.
care. What a surprise. That was great. What a surprise. I love those two. I'm going to tell you what, when I first met Cody, I thought to myself, he's the real deal. This kid's the real deal. And again, I've known Dustin for a while, and Satori is one of the most sweetest people I've ever met. She's so just a sweet kid, and together they are a powerhouse. And of course, Cody and I collect unusual. look behind me. Collect unusual things. So we naturally like hit it off. This is the tame stuff, by the way. Just to let you know, this is the tame stuff behind me. The other stuff is on the other side of the monitor.
on camera. There you go. Exactly.
I've come back in here. Where did everybody go? Where's this chat room emptied?
Again.
Let's bring him back again. We need the subscribers. Let's go. No, we had a meeting today, Tim, and I didn't say anything before. And I said, it would be great if you guys just came on, said hello. So they're hanging out in the other room watching us live right now. So,
well, they're glutton for punishment. That's all it is. That's all it is. Because I am greatly underwhelming, and they'll tell you the same thing.
Yeah, well, you have the Q factor,
So how you been though, dude? I mean, as I was talking about, every single time I scroll through and I go on social media, on Facebook, I don't post very much on there, but I'll still kind of just surf and see what everybody's doing. Man, you're nonstop. You are nonstop. And to my memory, God, I can't remember the first time you and I.
We met. I can tell you right now. We met up in Sault Ste. Marie. That's when we first met years ago.
Okay, yes,
years ago. Yeah.
And I never see you slow down, man. I don't know how you're able to do it. Other than it's got to be, in my impression of you, your absolute devotion, love, and passion for this field.
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you, it's a lot of people always ask me, why and how, or you do so much. I don't think I do enough. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I do enough. I think I'm lazy. Everybody, for some reason, thinks I'm so busy. I am. But I'll just let you guys know. I retired from the town of Cheektowaga. I worked at the highway department for 34 and a half years. I did asphalt work. I did concrete work. I worked in hospitals at night and stuff.
Wait a minute. Are you brothers from another mother, you and Ken?
He's a handsome devil. What can I tell you?
Just retired in 2016, Tim, from my own municipal Department of Public Works.
It's where it's happened, baby. It's funny because when in 1982, when I first got hired there were a lot of guys younger than me. I am now. When they were all retiring, like 82, 83, 84. And they lasted like 2 to 3 years. They were dead. They all died. But the big thing is they didn't do anything. Right. Their big thing was to go in the afternoon and watch Wheel of Fortune in a bar, which is, that's neither here nor there. But they didn't do anything. They didn't have that constant, look. They never had an interest. And I guess I just never, I didn't want to be like that. So I constantly was working. Plus, on top of it, I had been taking classes, and I first went to Lilydale with my parents to visit relatives in 1972, I think. So I've been kicking around a while down there, and I just kept it going. And to me, it becomes an ingrained part of you, and you just keep going and you keep going and you keep going. And just before I retired, I said, you know what? Because I had, a few books that have been published and, a couple things here and there. And I did a couple gigs on TV, and before I retired, I said, I've got to go and I've got to really have a battle plan, in place. So I started taking videography classes, and I volunteer up at a not-for-profit. We do not-for-profit stuff for a little cable company locally, and I direct, produce, floor, clean the bathrooms. I do everything that needs to be done, and I just never stopped. And when the opportunities started to come up, I just kept going with it and kept going with it. And then we had, those two crazy Jones brothers down in Kentucky. They talked me into a radio podcast radio show, and the rest is history. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is like my 18th year on the air someplace.
Wow.
I took a couple years off when my mom got sick and she passed away. And I brought the Black Cat Lounge back during COVID. And the reason why I brought it back during COVID, because there's so many people in the paranormal that were just like, oh, we can't do this and we can't do that. And I thought, you know what? I'll do something out there and we'll talk to people. And that's all we wanted to do, is just, raise people's spirits for a year, and I just kept going. So we're just still we're still going strong, guys. you know how it is.
Again, I think all three of us, we just have these intertwined connections that go on. Same thing. Dead Air started, 16 years ago, and we took a break just before COVID and then came back and have been going ever since. A different platform, and of course you're going to change platforms because technology changes. But everybody just seems to find you, and that's the wonderful part to it. You can still reach out to this community. I love that part of it.
And that's what it is. And you know what? My whole thing is, I'm like you guys. It's like I like just being me. I like doing what I want to do. I did the network gig. We were on CBS for a while and stuff. And I just didn't. I'm not a big conform guy. I don't like that stuff. It's a pain to be able to have to conform, and put you in a box and sell airtime and do all this stuff. And I just didn't. I didn't find it fun. And I just love just like what we're all doing, just hanging out, talk to some people. I never thought I'd ever get a chance to talk to cool people, and I never got a chance. I never thought I'd ever get a chance to talk to these authors or learn from anybody, or even have anybody like want to hear me prattle on like an old washerwoman, So, you know what I mean? So it's like, this is, it's always a blessing and an honor, and that's what the fun thing is. And when you guys asked me on, I said, oh my God, yeah, let's try to get a date in. And
around
today actually is my very first like day off in probably a week and a half.
We hit it, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, it's like there are people who still are in this for the evolution that we still have, always learning, always being a student of it. And for no other reason, we love doing this because, as you say, it's a platform. And for us to be able to bring in different voices, different perspectives.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because a lot of times people who join us in chat, and there are very many and a lot of regulars, somewhere out there, somebody's going through something. And to have a perspective where you let people know, listen, you're not alone here. We're going to openly talk about these things. But to me, the best thing about this particular field of study isn't necessarily what data we collect. It's fascinating, or what we deem to be evidence from that data. It's fascinating, but there's something about the people.
Yes, I agree.
Whether it's going into someone's home or a historical location and being able to exchange those ideas with them, Tim, knowing that, they're putting faith in us to tell us things that they wouldn't normally tell their closest friends.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's something that I know you take very seriously and respect.
I do.
As do a lot of people.
You know what I mean? That's all part of it. People don't, everybody that watches the shows, they see the glory of it. They see the buzzers buzzing, or hear the buzzers buzzing. They see the lights flashing. That's all the glory of it. But at the end of the day, if you can go and you can say, well, maybe I help somebody just get a clearer understanding of what they're going through, or maybe we can maybe we can go and settle something down that might have spiked up, or
Sure.
you know, and let's face it, for me, 80 to 90% of what we do is sitting down with people and explaining to them the ABCs of what they may be going through. And, you know, I mean, everybody's got different tracks, everybody's got different religions, everybody's got different traditions and stuff. And it's fascinating. It's truly fascinating. And how to match that up, you know, with their religions, how they can go, and we can kind of touch base with them. And before you know it, things start to calm down, or they start to accept things, and that's the fun of it. That's the challenge of what we do. The little lights in the recordings that we get, that's the easy part. You know, that's the easy part. The hard part is going back and talking to people to figure out what's going on and help them like cope with it.
Well, the thing is, if you can come in and be the calmest person in the room,
that's not me.
That sort of settles things down a little bit, because you know,
yeah, you got
something happens, and then you get a heightened level of anxiety, and then the next noise gets stacked.
I think the biggest thing is like with me. I mean, it's almost like therapy, because of the fact that you have to come in from a alpha position, and you know, you got to be able to go and admit that you don't have all the answers. Right. That's A. But you come in from that position and you start building the trust, and you start building it up. And that's what's kind of really important. That's what, you know, and it's getting that, it's getting them to realize what's going on around them, and to realize that what they are experiencing is not, you know what, I'm an old spiritualist that just happens to have hung out with some of like crazy, you know, I mean, I hang out with some pretty eclectic, I won't call them crazy, eclectic people, hoodoo, voodoo, the different traditions. I knew the late Raymond Buckland. I mean, I loved, you know, these people were great. I learned so much from them. And the whole idea is just to go and you have to bring a calm. Now, I'm probably not, as you can probably tell, Ken, I am not one of the most calmest people in the world, you know, because that's just the way I'm built. But, you know, I go and, you know, you come in there and you do the best you can, and you do no harm, and you work with it. That's all there is to it. And there is no other secret about it. It's just that you do these things. And, you know, as a medium, that's, you know, a lot of people ask about mediumship, because when growing up, you know, when I went to Lyceum, which is a spiritualist Sunday schools, you are to be the medium, which is, you know, you are of service to those that have passed and those that are living. You are to be of service. And when I was growing up, you know, there was a guy, you know, there's a place called the Maplewood Hotel in Lilydale. And on Friday and Saturday nights, all the registered mediums, it's an old Victorian, used to be a horse barn is what it was, but they kind of rebuilt it into a hotel. And they have a little wraparound, you know, porch on there, but you couldn't, as a kid, you couldn't go up there Friday, Saturday nights and sit there. And then all the old guys and, you know, the registered mediums and all that, they'd be up there and they'd be smoking, because that, you know, back then you could smoke anywhere. But I mean, they'd all be smoking their pipes and cigars, and they'd be rocking on the front porch. And I always remember we couldn't sit on the porch, we couldn't even sit in the stairs. You know, we'd all, you know, as kids, we were like, oh my God, I want to hear all this stuff, you know. And there was an old guy that looked at me and he said, you know, Tim, let me just tell you something. What you're learning here is not to be your life. And that was really weird, because I thought, what do you mean not to be my life? You know, I'm a spiritualist. I'm working, you know, I was a kid, you know, and I'm going to children's seances, and I'm going to all the old blue hairs over there teaching me all this stuff. What do you mean? What do you mean not to be my life? He goes, it's to be an addition. That's it right there. That's it right there. It's to be an addition to your life, not to be your life. And you are to be of service. So basically, I mean, two things she was saying, of course, of being of service. And the second thing was, go and either witness or live a life, but live your life not as a medium, live your life as a common person, whatever you decide to do, and just be the witness for it.
Right.
You know, let people see this is what you do. And, you know, and I'll be honest with you, people didn't know what the hell I did till probably the late 90s when I got outed in the newspaper, you know? And now and Ken, I'm sure you were a union guy, so you know what that did. That was like somebody lit the dynamite. So, you know, it was the Mr. Shaw, can we see you in the union office this afternoon before you go in and clock out? You know, one of those things. So yeah, you know, I mean, so a lot of people didn't know what I did, which was great. You know, but
you know what the thing is, Tim. You talk about this, and at first everybody kind of looks at you funny. But I find this even in life. But in my shop, for example, you know, the guys would be, you know, you get some good-natured ribbon, and then everybody has a ghost story.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then, well, you know, my aunt lived in this place. Well, there was a house down the street when I was a kid. Everybody's got a ghost story.
Well, you know what's funny, Ken? When I got pulled in the union office, because what happened was I was working with a local folklorist, and so we were doing an event, and he was looking for some, you know, I had co-authored a book with him, and we had, you know, he was looking for somebody to do some readings, you know, at one of his events, and I said, sure, I'll do that. And the guy comes up with a real fancy camera, and he's got a little press tag, and he goes, hey, I'm so and so from whatever, and I wasn't really paying attention, and he said, you know, can I take your picture for the paper? I said, sure. So I thought it was going to be one of those little local freebies, you know, that they have outside the the supermarkets and grocery stores. It ended up being the Buffalo News here, which was the big newspaper.
And go big or go home.
Yeah, really. And at 8:30 in the morning, my saintly mother called me up and said, oh, what a great photo. And I was standing there because we were bending spoons and forks and stuff because there was nothing going on at that time. And I was showing a friend how to, you know, how to do the mentalist thing with it. And when I got to work, I mean, he said that guys had complained. I just want to let you know that you know, the union official said some guys have complained. They don't want to work with you. I said, well, what does that leave me? You know, I mean, they said, well, let's put it this way. Half the crew thinks that you're out there, and the other half of the crew thinks it's cool what you do. So, I mean, I had enough people that thought I was, you know, thought what I did was cool to work with, you know, and they shuffled the thing, and they were good about it. But I came in, and that picture was in the union locker, which is, you know, you have all your union business and everything in there, and it's locked, so you can't get the photo out. So you know, so I was dead in the water at that point, you know. But I would say until I got that first spot years ago on Ghost Lab with the Kling brothers, they after that, oh, it was a whole different story. You know, oh, that's pretty cool what you, and then all the ghost stories started coming out, you know. But before that, they were sort of like, you know, burn him, he's a witch. You know, that's pretty much what it was like.
How big? Because I was from a town of maybe 15,000.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not a big town, but not a small one. But, you know, going back in my day where everybody knew each other, what was the town like that you worked? Was it kind of along the same lines?
Huge. I live in Erie County, New York, just east of Buffalo, New York. And I always call it a shotgun blast out of the combat zone. You know, that's the way I always describe it. But we are the largest town in Erie County. Buffalo is a city. We are the largest town. So I mean, it's a good sized town. It really is.
I could find that in a smaller place, you're not going to get lost.
I listen, in a larger place, you don't get lost.
Hey, listen, a couple of questions for you, Tim.
Sure.
Comes back. Being an author, of course, research plays a big role in what you do. You know, you get your inspiration, then you got to go find out about this. How does that translate to investigations for you? Do you want to know going into a place as much as you can know about that place, or would you rather not know?
Depends on the circumstances, Ken. Depends on the circumstances. And the reason why I say depends on the circumstances is that I personally like when a team will ask me to bird dog for them. And that's sort of what I did on Portals to Hell, where they blindfold you. You have no clue where you're going. You get out there and you just smell for blood. That's what you're looking for. You know, you pick up that vibration and stuff. I love doing that. 2 reasons: because it's exciting and I can walk around and I have my voice recorder and I just start slamming all the impressions I'm getting. And then I pull the SD card out, give it to the team leader. I go home. I'm sleeping in my bed by midnight. You know, I'm old. I like this, that's it. Midnight. I'm good for that. But if I'm doing, if I'm helping and for an we're doing a real investigation, and not so much like a public location, but if we're doing something for a resident, I like to know as much as I possibly can about the land, what predated the house, the structure, and go back. It's not unusual for me to look back between 3,000 to 5,000 years. I want to see what's on that land. I want to see if there was, any incursion, if there was any kind of ossuary that was in that area. I want to know about ley lines. I want to know about the earliest writings of that area. Because
geological
right. Oh, geological is huge because here, oh my God, I mean, we have so much limestone and granite here. It's like it's crazy, and you know yourself how that holds psychic vibration, and that will go, and that leads into it, because there's 3 types of hauntings, as you know. You got intelligent haunting, you got residual haunting, and then you got naturally occurring psychokinetic haunting that doesn't go and have any kind of rhyme or reason to it. It's just a buildup of energy. And Dale Quigley, that's my man right there, Dale. Hi, Dale, it's so great to see you. Thanks for coming on. You just made me laugh mid sentence. Come on now, the pea brain doesn't work as well as it used to, Dale. But yeah, I like to do that. For residentials, I think it's more important because you're there for a reason. I just don't go to residentials to do, hop, skip, and a jump. I'll do that like at public places, or if we're going into a location that's a little bit well known or established, sure. I want to know what I'm getting into. But at that local level, at that residential level, you got to know why. Johnny Zaffis taught me years and years ago to figure out what's going on. You got to figure out the who, what, where, and why, and look for the battery. What's powering this thing? I remember at the Hinsdale house years and years and years ago, they went and I used to belong to a little dowsing society, and they went up there to find out why there was these hauntings, why these poor people were suffering from all this stuff going on. And they found that there was 2 negative ley lines that crossed underneath the house. Makes a lot of sense to me, and with that we figured that was powering it. But yet there was a lot of other things, that have developed over the years that we found out. And just speaking of the Hinsdale house, I just want to throw something out there, and I'm sorry if, to do this, but the owner of the house is a good friend of mine, Dan Kless.
We've had him.
Yeah. And his 13-year-old daughter, Shaylee, was diagnosed with bone cancer.
Yes.
And they do have, if you guys could see it in your hearts, to give a little something, for them, because he has given back so much to everybody. And, and it's so heartbreaking. And, as somebody who has medical problems, that I've gone through, it's really kind of important that we give back. And that's something that, I learned a long time ago. I will go and I'll do talks and do stuff, and I won't charge anything. And the reason why I don't charge a lot for, some of these different talks is, first of all, the little organizations, they can't afford it. But second of all, it's just giving back. Just give something back, to the community. So if you guys could find it in your hearts to, send something in, there's a GoFundMe for it.
Let's see if we can get that link up before we get out of here.
Yeah, I would appreciate it, because I hate to bring it, it's something important, and
because it's funny, because we were out before the show started, and we were talking about Shelley, Cody, Satori, myself, a couple of other people. We were just talking about her circumstance.
Yeah. So
And
again,
such a bright light. She's such a bright light.
yeah,
It's
she
incredible.
is. And and again, Dan has done so much for so many different people, and I mean, he's really just a good guy, and it's just him and I can and keep him and his family in your prayers. That's huge. That is so huge.
Well, I had wrote him a comment because I'm a cancer survivor, and I just said I beat it, and
We're all in the club.
She looks a hell of a lot tougher than I do.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I think she's. I just hope she's got this. And,
it's hard. Yeah, there it is.
yeah.
So guys, you can look that up, and even if it's $5, that's all that counts. You don't have to dig deep, and you don't have to get down to the bottom of the pocket where the lint is. Just try to if it's something up on top, just send it along. It's really important.
Yeah, we want to make sure that she's just starting out in life. We want her 20 years from now to be able to bring her kids out there, and she's so
exactly. That's exactly it.
I appreciate you mentioning Shaylee.
Yeah, she's just a sweetheart.
We were just talking about that. To switch gears a little bit here, wanted to talk about your background. Western New York, wowza. That's ground zero of a lot of the spiritualist movement.
It's
question
great.
is now, do you feel it was an advantage to you to come to this study from the metaphysical and then eventually evolve into technology?
Big time.
And
big time.
The physical realm of what we have as far as documenting things. Was that an advantage to you to start there?
Yeah. And the reason, I'm going to just tell you, the basic reason is because I was brought up, again, to be of service. That this is huge, to be of service. Mm-hmm. You got to be able to go and just not be I mean, I do gallery work. The reason I do gallery work is I got a big mouth and my voice carriage. So even as a kid. So I was trained in that aspect, but a lot of it was so that we would do like children's seances, and it was run by adults, and it was during the day. The big thing is so that you don't become afraid of stuff that goes on, physical phenomena, the production of physical phenomena, the reaction of physical phenomena, the activity of physical phenomena. So you don't become afraid of it. So, I mean, I did spirit rescue circles and things of that nature. Early on, and I've seen you see spirits, you see you see stuff, you see your flashlight flies off a table, you're hearing discarnate voices, you're hearing you're getting the touches, you get pushed. I just got pushed down not too long ago, right to the ground my first time, and scratches and stuff. The big thing is that it's you don't freak with it, and it's to keep in all things. Andrew Jackson Davis, who is one of the founders, one of the pioneers in the metaphysical of the spiritualist movement, always said, in all circumstances, keep an even mind. And that is not only just for working with the mind, it's working with outside of the mind and then in the natural world. And I found that really helped me. Hey, Mel, how are you doing? There's my friend Mel. How you doing, kiddo? But what I found that a lot of what bothers me is when people. I won't get into the different shows, Ken. We won't go into the TV shows, but to be in a show and running out of a building screaming is despicable, and that's wrong. You should be.
A lot of it is performance.
A lot of it's and I just had this talk. As a matter of fact, I just had this talk Thursday with University Express here in Western New York, and it was all about reality TV and especially the paranormal and the entertainment value of it. But you shouldn't. I mean, this should be wonderment. This should be like your aha peak moments. not running out scared every time somebody's stomach growls or somebody farts, you know. I mean, come on, you know, give me a break here, guys.
Well, being a baseball guy, the way I've always put it is, don't get in the batter's box if you're afraid to get hit by the pitch.
But that's exactly it. That's exactly it. And if you do this long enough, that little meter of yours is not gonna protect you, you know, from getting touched or whatever. You know, you're gonna, you know, one of these times you can be on a public hunt and get a scratch or whatever. So I mean, you know, if you do it long enough, it's going to happen. And that's the whole thing. You've got to be able to go, and you have to be able to experience it and not freak out. Now, Ken, I'm going to go and I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something that's an open secret. You ready for it?
Dude,
I hate the dark.
ah,
Hate it. My wife is gone for the evening. Every light in the house is on. I'm in bed sleeping. All the lights are still on. I'm in a hotel room someplace. I have to have a light on. 2 reasons. First of all,
What?
oh yeah. First of all, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not afraid of being in the dark. I'm afraid of stumbling into stuff. That's my biggest thing. I hate falling into stuff. Plus, I mean, I had within, I think, about a year and a half, I had a cornea transplant. I had gone blind in my right eye, and the cellular structure of the cornea was really just kind of just rotting away, is basically the best way you can describe it. So I had to have a transplant. And for a while, I would say probably about 9 months, I couldn't see out of that eye. So, I mean, I would go and stumble into stuff, and I hate stumbling into things. That's why I don't like haunted houses, you know, the commercial ones. I don't like people jump. I was a bouncer during disco. I got hit in the head with 16-ounce beer bottles. You know what I mean? That got thrown over. I don't want to go and like have people jump out at me, and I don't want to stumble into anything when it's dark. So those are the reasons why I don't like that. You know, I don't like to have the dark. But I mean, it's a riot because people just, you know, they always think to themselves, well, I can't believe Tim Shaw doesn't like the dark. You know, phenomena happens any time of the day in any conditions. Christopher, listen, Christopher, if I had gone through, if I had gone through what you went through, I'd be sleeping with the damn lights on too.
jeez. But Chris, to his advantage, was a runner, Tim.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he never ran. He was all right. But you know, when I interviewed him for the book, when we wrote the book together, and I interviewed him, and I was like, dude, I've met some survivors over the years, and I'm like, I just can't believe that you didn't just like throw your hands up and walk away. You know, I give up. I just give up. He showed a lot of backbone, and yeah, I mean, I was impressed by him. He's a good kid.
yeah, you know, it's I want to leave you in George's capable hands. Just maybe a comment more than a question, because you talked about spiritualism, you know, teaching you to accept things and not be afraid. And
Yeah.
you know, I find that's funny because a lot of times I'll give talks once in a while on cemeteries, believe it or not. Ooh. How
That's
in the
that's
1800s,
Ken, that's stretching it, you know. That's stretching it.
the garden cemetery was created, where they created cemeteries with brooks and trees and benches to invite people in to have picnics, or you know, let the kids romp around to try to, you know, make people less afraid of death. So the 1800s, it was kind of an age of enlightenment, and they were trying to sort of spread a message there. So I found an interesting correlation with that. So,
well, you know, I mean, during that movement, it was, it was to remove the dead from the populated areas. And then you started having, as all your cities started to expand during this movement, they were overwhelming all these cemeteries. So they were moving the bodies out of those small cemeteries to be reclaimed for mansions and houses and all industry or whatever. And They needed a place to put them. So they decided to go and put them in, make these beautiful parks to bring people in. And, back in the Victorian age, it was nothing for people to go and have a picnic on the gravesite of your grandparents. And it's like the Day of the Dead. Go to Mexico. Oh my God, the Day of the Dead is fantastic because of the fact that you're going out there and you're honoring the ancestors, and and it's you're not going and clenching your butt cheeks because you're crying so much and weeping uncontrollably because you're missing these people. No, they're there. They might be wherever they are, but the memory is happy. And that's what you want. You want to honor them. You want to honor that. And to have that fun.
Or appropriating them for our entertainment.
Well, that's something else. Yeah, I agree there.
I'm going to split. We'll be back later, Tim. Thanks, buddy.
Ciao, baby.
Tim Shaw is our very special guest tonight. And thanks for coming on again, Tim. And again, it's what you do, doing a talk show yourself at the Black Cat Lounge. But and I want to get into that with you right now.
Sure.
Being a host and doing it, again, parallel to about the length of time, maybe a little bit longer than what I've been doing here on Dead Air. And you try to pick and choose your guests. Now, I used to have a partner with me doing this and would want to constantly say, let's call out people who come on the show. And I used to say, these people we're not paying them to come on. They're coming on. Out of the kindness of their own heart. They could be anywhere else, and they come on here, and you're going to what? Call BS on the evidence that they're providing? It's not the way you go about it. Have there been those lip-biting times in the past, though?
I knew where you were going, George. I knew right where you were going.
That being said, have there been those moments?
Yes. Oh, my God, yes. You guys probably get the same thing. You're a lot of promoters out there, a lot of agents, and they're sending you all these, these people, and they look great on paper.
Yeah.
And years ago, I never did due diligence. I just was like, yeah, this is cool. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the ant people from down in Georgia or something, and you get about 15 minutes into it and you're like, dear Lord, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And I do, and I'll be honest with you, I do, for my interviews, I always have 12 questions. Always have 12 questions I can fall back on. I couldn't even get 4 questions sometimes with these people because it was just like, it was so tough. But I refuse to call anybody out, because of the fact that I believe it's their belief system, whether I agree with it or not. It's their opinion. I had a skeptic do some nasty stuff to me, and I was mad. And then I thought to myself, and it's funny because I ran into him, and I said to him, I was mad with you. I was mad for about 4 days. And here's the thing. You got an opinion. I got an opinion. I'm going to be mad at you because of our opinions. What kind of a person would I be?
Right.
And I never, ever, no matter how rough the interview was, no matter how I may have been like gotten halfway through and went, oh my God, I'm getting a nosebleed. I will never call anybody out. I will ask them questions about it. If something I don't understand, clarify it for me. But I will never go and say, listen, your evidence is wrong. Your evidence sucks. I will never say that to anybody, because I don't want, you got to treat people the way you want to be treated, basically. And who's going to come on your show?
There you go.
Little person, big person. Who's going to come on your show for you to make fun of them or to put them down because you want to feel that self-gratification that you are this educated, scholarly person? No, I'm Tim Shaw. I'm from Western New York. I got a little show. I'm happy doing it. And, it's, I think I got some of the nicest compliments were from like guys like Dacker Stoker, Bram Stoker's great nephew who is in charge of the Stoker estate and is an author, and he's a prolific historian on Bram Stoker. And he said to me, he goes, "You do your homework." He goes, "It's so refreshing that you sit down, you do your homework, and you have an actual interest in what I'm saying. Doesn't matter if I disagree with the history. It doesn't matter. Present it. I'll give you the forum to do it." Secondly, if you are nice enough to take the time to come on my show, and that's
Exactly.
and I got a little show, I'm not, I don't look for rating. I just throw my stuff out on Facebook or YouTube or, whatever, on my website. And if you're nice enough to come on my show, I want to reciprocate by giving you enough time to go and talk about your project, talk about your belief system. If you have books, if you have appearances, I want to give you that, because that is a thank you. And people, now, even some of the shows are just so mean spirited.
Yeah.
I can't. It's not in me to do that, because I understand. I've been in the position where people have tried to go and box me in or something, and I'm just like, well, it's all realm of belief. What are you going to do? And that's how you basically just describe everything. And I don't ever want to be that person. I don't want to be that flash in the pan for about a year where everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's unbelievable." Because I had a guy that he passed on, and he was just downright nasty. I mean, he just hated me for whatever reason. I think a lot of it, people lied to him about me or whatever. He just hated me, and he would go out there and just destroy me every chance he got. Do I want to be like that? You got to ask yourself, do you want to be that person? And he had all these followers. Of course, they followed him because he was sensational. And I thought, no, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to create, and inevitably, psychologically, if you attack that person, even though good offense is a great defense, you create a victim out of that person.
Right.
You don't want that. Let them just go. And talk is cheap. Actions speak louder. And I got to say that philosophy I've always followed, and it's been a blessing. I mean,
taking the high road is so important for the respect of the field. Whether you were out investigating, how you conduct yourself at a location is paramount.
Exactly.
But same thing here, where you're behind the microphone talking with somebody. There are people right now in chat that have been listening to me since the old Block Talk radio days.
Yeah. Oh my God. Now you're showing your age, George.
Now it's coming out.
And I think you had hair back then.
one or two, maybe. But there are those. Yeah, no question about it. There are guests that you have to help along,
right.
Where you have to kind of fill the air, because their responses are monosyllabic, because they're or they don't have an answer to something. However, on the flip side, and I'm sure you've been there as well, where you've been a guest on the show and the same situation where the host is just very limited in their talk, and you have to really expound upon things too. So there's a particular art to it, and it's knowing a rhythm to what it is that you're doing.
Flow. And when I go and I do my questions, because if somebody's an author, I want their book. I will buy their book. I don't want anything free. I'll buy their book, and I will at least try to read 3/4 of that book. I may not be able to have all the time to finish it, but I will try to read at least 3/4 of that book. If you can't get 12 intelligent questions to build into your interview flow, if you can't do that, then you have no business doing this. And you should, and I don't care what anybody says, if you're doing it professionally or if you're doing it, right like this.
Yeah.
You should try to know your subject. And people who I've had slow talkers on, and I always remember Garrison Keillor in one of the movies, some movies, and I always like Garrison Keillor. He always said, "Oh, dead air is not conducive to good radio," and so you help people along. And I understand that, because when we all started, George, yourself, it was tough. I mean, I still have the absolute worst stage fright, no matter what. I could throw up before anything I do. I'm that person. I am that person, you know. And then people are like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you go out and speak in front of all these people." I'm brutal. I have terrible stage fright. And you know, people are always like, "Oh my God," and they're like, you know, they may stutter or whatever. Help them along. Let it flow. Enjoy it. Set a good pace. The set and setting of what you're doing is so important. And especially like even on when we do the not-for-profits, we get people on there from different different charities and stuff that have never been on TV before, have no idea what to expect, and all of a sudden they're in a studio that's lit. You got 3 floor cams, you got 7 robo cams, you've got a you've got a broadcast booth, you've got a cameraman slash I do all the floor manager, to time everything out. They're terrified. Sure. It's my job to sit there and say to them, look at the host. Don't look at the cameras. Just look at the host and just talk and try to bring them down. And before you know it, they're really calm and cool and collected. It's the same thing with what we do. Create a friendly atmosphere. Always go and help them out and say, listen, if you're getting a little nervous or something, just give me a buzzword or whatever, and I will go and I'll fill in the time. Don't worry about it. It's up to me to make you look good. And that's what my job is. I understand what my job is, to make my guest look good. And if my guest looks good, my guest makes me look good. And that's what's important. And that's what's important.
And I don't know whether or not it makes me happy or makes me sad when we have guests on and they turn around and say, this has been an excellent show, and we really enjoyed ourselves. What they're having to endure in other locations. So it's one of those things again that you feel good about it. And again,
right,
as you do this more and more, you learn the rhythm of it. But
exactly.
Tim, we're going to go to our break right now.
You got it, baby. Sell. I got to tell you something, baby. You guys are beautiful. You guys are effervescent. You're iridescent. I'm going to tell you what, whatever they're selling, you buy. Everybody, buy. Pull that card out. Get moving, baby. Get moving.
Nobody send any coffee to this man. We'll be back on the other side of this break. We've got questions from chat we'll be getting back to. Our very special guest, Tim Shaw.
Maybe
we'll be back.
Maybe those kids will be back. I don't know.
We never know. All right, guys, you're watching Dead Air Live. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
As UFO reports come in from around the world, the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, is there. We continue to explore new cases and build our massive database. We share our information with the world in a number of ways. If you would like to be part of our investigative team, you are always welcome. What could be more exciting than exploring the UFO question firsthand? Join MUFON, find your friends.
You're listening to the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. We provide unparalleled coverage of trending news in the world of ufology, cryptozoology, and paranormal phenomenon. Whether you're watching our video live stream or listening to one of our audio programs, you are getting the best from world-renowned researchers and hosts, guiding you through topics the mainstream won't touch. Miss one of your favorite programs? No problem. Head over to the members area at kgradb.com for access to our massive library of award-winning content. Make contact, stay connected, only at kgradb.com.
All right, guys, we're back with a very special guest, Tim Shaw. And before we continue forward, just a reminder, tomorrow night on our Patreon page, you guys that are our town hall members, definitely want to join tomorrow night. Terry Rohde is going to be joining us. She's one of the experiencers from the collective consciousness experiments that we've done over the last 3 to 5 years. So you make sure you guys come in and check it out. It'll be your training sessions prior to us doing the collective consciousness experiment in a couple of weeks. So make sure you guys do chime in tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Since we're talking about your show, Tim, tell everybody when it is on, how often you do that, and where they can see it.
Well, basically, the Black Cat Lounge is heard almost every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the reason why I say and
thank God, no competition. Okay.
No competition. Okay. No. Listen, I do check my schedules once in a while, but basically, I'm on Facebook. That's where I do my live. I throw it out there, and then I'll put it up on YouTube, and I'll have a episode or two on my website, and then I have a Facebook page, the Black Cat Lounge, and I'm always listen. I would go and put it up during the middle of a church service if I could. That's what I would do. I sell that thing left and right. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
On Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day, baby.
Hey, I'm looking at chat here. People are talking about the show Hot Wings in there. Kind of reminds me of Town Hall last week. We went somehow from the metaphysical into shark attacks. But that's what we do, folks. Somehow we get there. I don't know how we get there.
Listen, chicken wings basically were discovered here in Buffalo, New York at the Anchor Bar. So, I am kind of particular with my wings. I really am. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't eat a lot of them anymore.
But you don't have shark attacks.
No, I don't have shark attacks. No, we have carp attacks. Koi attacks, actually.
Oh, the horror. Oh, the absolute horror.
Hey, listen, broiled with some ketchup, nobody knows the difference. It all tastes good.
Ooh. Okay.
That could work. Ken, we got a couple of questions from the chat. If you want to read those out, I'll bring them up, each one. First one from the very lovely Erin Bush.
And Erin, I want to thank you so much. Erin was like mine and Zaphas's guardian angel. She was so nice. She brought us coffee when we desperately needed it. And I can't thank her enough for that.
Well,
okay. Go ahead, Ken.
Okay. Well, Erin would like to know, can you talk a little bit about your process before you go do a read on a location? Do you have a preferred energetic protection method? This comes up a lot on this show. What
protection,
do you do?
I have no method. I'll come right out and tell you. I have no method because I have no fear.
Okay.
What I believe, I believe 100% that I am protected. My protection comes from the inside. My mentor, Sharon Klingler, taught me that if we live a decent life, you don't have to be perfect. If you just don't go out of your way to screw somebody over or whatever, you don't really have to worry about it. And the late Ray Buckland taught me that if you believe 100% that you are protected, so you are. The problem comes in is where you have that little bit of doubt, and that's your chink in the armor. That's where you have to watch it. So for me, I don't have any kind of method. Now, like when I'm going to if my preferred method of like getting ready for to go into something that might be because I don't believe in angels or demons. The spiritualists really don't. I mean, it's Metallica, AC/DC, Nightwish. Oh my God, Nightwish. it just blows my. That's what I lift. You know, I lift iron to Nightwish, and when I'm going there, and that psychs me up. And the reason why I like that is the fact that I have no expectations, none. I don't worry about expectations. I don't worry about what's going to happen to me. I'm going to go there. And I know. I took a class with Tom Brown Jr. He was an American tractor, and he's an American mystic down from the Pine Barrens, New Jersey. And he taught us how to project. And you project yourself with a breath. And you get out there and you go, you know, and you're in. And then you're out of the zone. That's the way I do stuff. And I'm not one of these guys that sits there and meditates. I'm the world's worst meditator, to be honest with you. And I just get into it. And the happier I get, the more adrenaline I get. I don't worry about protection. I get in there and I do it.
If you're anything like me, you know, you're meditating and it's, oh, squirrel.
Oh, of course. Of course. Now, like, you know, I'll be honest with you, before the unfoldment process, you know, before I started really dedicating myself to being a medium. Yeah. That was a whole thing, you know, the visualization and all this stuff. And the more I worked with it and the harder I worked with it and the more dedicated I became to it. Now I don't get any visual. I really don't hear anything. I only get the essence. And it's the essence of thought, the true essence of reality. And that's why I do things so quick. Plus, on top of it, I was trained as a gallery reader. And as a gallery reader, we bring messages through to the congregation, and you have got to go and bring in 3 messages, bringing in either a name or an identifier, a pertinent message, and something maybe, you know, that might be important, right? You've got to bring 3 of them in 12 minutes. And the blue hairs, you know, in the church got the stopwatch going, oh, tick, 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 and then they'll go, time, you know, if you don't get them out. So you've got to be that quick. And by working with only the essence of what's going on, you're getting it. And it's like pablum coming out of my mouth. I don't even think, you know, I have like a very little filter. If I'm doing a casino gig, well, that filters out the window. But if I'm in church, I can't drop an F-bomb. By the way, did I ever tell you, Ken, did I ever tell you about the day I dropped an F-bomb in church?
Ooh,
No.
I was speaking.
Spill.
I'm in this beautiful church, right? I'm in a beautiful spiritualist church. And it's coming through, and all of a sudden it was like, and then it said, what the F is going on, right? I was like, oh no. I had just done something, I forget what it like the week before, so it's like I was like just whatever came out. The look of horror on the board, the church board's face.
Oh, God.
Was there. Now, what do? I looked at him as calmly as anything, and I went, you guys know that I am a trance medium. So don't blame me for what was said.
Blame the spirits.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they just loved it. They broke up. They loved it. And I never heard a complaint. And they invited me back. So I know that I know that they didn't think it was that bad. But it's just the fact that I can't meditate because I have too much other stuff going on in my life. And when I sit down, like today, it was raining here in Buffalo. So I was in our sunroom listening to the rain. And that's just about the only time that I can meditate. And I don't even call it meditating. It's like daydreaming. But to purposely meditate, forget it. Astral projection and all that. We used to work with that years and years ago. And, you know, there was a big thing about meditation. Can't do it. Some people are wonderful at it. This kid ain't.
No.
I get too much stuff to do.
Yeah. Get out of my way. You know what I mean? And you know what the problem is? The problem is the spirit is like, okay, you're in that zone, right? You're in the zone. All of a sudden, the spirit's like, hey, you know what, Tim? Maybe you should go down in the basement and start framing up some of those haunted objects that you have and put them in a shadow box. Oh, maybe you should, you know, or maybe you should start this project, or maybe you should sit down at your computer and just get some inspirational writing out, you know, get it out. You know, that's the problem. And I can't stop that. It's just that's part of it. It's partially me. It's just being ingrained in me.
Yep.
We have Audrey Dawson here.
Hi, Audrey.
Since Tim is a spiritualist, what is his view of Satori and Cody?
Love them, love them, love them.
Who are watching in my other room on a 2-second delay, and I just heard the laughter in this. I really love what they do, and I would love to hear his opinion on their method. Thank you. You guys hear that?
Yep. What my opinion of their method is phenomenal, because of the fact that when we work seance, it is a group effort. It is not individual sport. So everybody at the table, even though you have a leader and you have a battery at the table, a lot of times we don't even use tables, but everybody around is directing what's going on. So when you have two people who are meshed and really in sync, that energy flows so naturally and so perfectly and beautifully that it will go and produce a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to see, Cody, Satori, Uncle Timmy wants you to go and do this. Guys, Uncle Timmy says, I think you guys should really start working towards the production of physical phenomena by doing your method, because I like it. I think it's great. Now they get a lot, they've gotten some flack about it, but here's the bottom line. These people that get flack, do they do it? Do they know what's going on? Do they, that's, everybody's got a different method. Everybody's got a different way to do things. They are as pure a method. Cody and Satori's method is as pure as I've ever seen in any of the years that I've gone and I've worked this. And I know for a fact that proper seance, because you got you got an open seance where everybody's just different, but you got closed seance where you work with the same people for an extended period of time. When the energies are in sync, it is so strong and it is unbelievable, and how effective it is. And they've got it. But at Mansfield, man, I'm standing there going, God damn, I wish I could do that. That is fantastic, And you can feel the energy. You can feel that, when you see them on TV, you don't feel the energy.
Right.
There are certain things TV's great for, but there are certain things that do not translate well on TV. When you see those kids working and you feel that energy, I just sat there and was just like, yeah, it's working. You can feel it. Yeah. And all of a sudden the K2 meter reacts or whatever. And everybody's going, ooh, look at the K2 meter. I'm standing there going, well, never mind the K2 meter. Feel the energy that's coming out of there, Right. So yeah, I love them. I absolutely love them. I like that method. I really do. I think it's phenomenal.
2 points on that. The first one is that this may be synapses firing in concert or chemical. This may not be mystical. And
that's it.
If you hang after the show for 5 minutes, Tim, I want to tell you a little story. The second point I want to make is object manipulation on request.
Yeah,
we've done it.
Well, see, this is the thing. I brought up. I'm looking at two. I got two spiritualist trumpets, like right over here, right on the other side of the monitor. And back in the day when I was younger, I mean, I've seen them come up off the table. I've seen them spin. I've heard voices coming out of the trumpet. My personal trumpet, I heard scrapings in there, like something was like a rock or something was in there, and it dropped. There was nothing there when I looked, but you heard it. And this is stuff that it skirts that realm. It's right in that area of physical phenomena. And that's what you want. And the other thing is you've hit it right on the head. It could be chemical, could be whatever. My theory has always been, it's this much mystical, this little tiny mystical. Everything else is cognitive. It's up here. We unleash something up here that can do, because when I bend spoons or when I'm bending forks or whatever, it's not mystical. It's not. It is, to me, it's more of a projection where you're holding it, and all of a sudden when it becomes rubbery and you just bends and you twist it, and it's not mystical to me. It really isn't. It is my brain realizing that I've been taught all these years that something is not possible. Yet, when I go and truly believe 100% that in my heart and in my mind that something is possible, I believe it can manifest. I believe it can happen.
Mhm.
And so far, I got to say that's how so much of what we've done, either in Seance Circle or in investigations, can happen. The building up of that energy, but cognitively allowing it to happen.
Mhm.
Well, let's face it, Ken, you know yourself, George, you guys know. Let's look at the Philip experiments of 1972 up in Toronto, Canada,
Yeah.
with the table tipping and all of a sudden the table actually correcting something that happened, in their made up biography.
Mhm.
Amazing. Where does that come? How does that come? Why does it work like that?
Well,
It's because
essentially, what they did was create a tulpa.
they
They
did a thought
created
form.
a
A thought form.
conscious
Exactly.
entity.
Exactly.
Even supernatural. Tim, do you think you could hold an old school spiritualist event with Cody and Satori? You guys
Hallelujah,
getting all
baby.
this? You guys getting all this?
Wait a minute. Hallelujah, buddy. Hallelujah. We're ready to go. May I say, everybody, let's go. Let's reach out. Let's go and let's see what's going on. Maybe somebody out there knows an organizer that will just go and say, we want these beautiful people to come out there and we want them to go and we want them to just get back to the old time religion. We want them to be able to work the old ways. We want them to do that. I can feel it. And if everybody goes and raises their hands and says, hallelujah, brother, hallelujah, I can feel it. It shall happen.
If
But I
they
would
do
love
it maybe downtown Salem at midnight, that would be awesome.
Hey, I got friends.
Old school.
I got friends in the Ouija board museum, so we could do it there too. It'll be
Oh,
fun.
jeez. Hey, Matthew, Android Paranormal. Has something ever followed you home, Tim? If so, how'd you handle it?
You know what? I'll tell you what. Once I only had one bad experience in all the years I've been doing this stuff, and it's clearings and stuff. And I thought I was the cat's ass. I thought I knew everything. That was the chink in my armor. I had something follow me home, hooked in. About 5 days. That's about it. And it was to me, it was no big deal because once I identified what was going on, it was gone. And now I'm not that stupid. I was a stupid kid. I thought I knew everything, and I had a tiny bit of fear of it. And after that happened, I realized that no. And I've gone into some places that are pretty negative, and I've worked with some really great people over the years, and never had anything. I think the biggest problem again that people have is that it is some of these locations are intelligent, and we believe thoughts are things. Things are vibrational in nature. So if that's the case, these locations already know what you're expecting when you show up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more than willing to give it to you. And if you are a little bit afraid of something kind of following you home, you may be creating that.
Made your bed.
It's a question of vulnerability, Tim, because I'm sure you've done this before in residences where you tell people or try to give them the tools to empower themselves and take back
Exactly.
their space. You know what I mean? It may sound crazy that you're in the middle of the living room talking to nothing. Humor me and go ahead and do it, because even if it's a placebo effect where you start to believe it's like, I am the king or queen of my domain here, it can be an empowering thing. So because a lot of times you don't allow yourself to be a victim, don't allow yourself to be vulnerable.
One of the very first things that I was taught years ago was that even before I really started doing a lot of stuff, this is going back even to Lyceum time, our job is never to leave anybody unempowered. And that includes readings or anything else that I do. It's our job to help people, to empower them, to give them tools, to go and build their confidence up so that they are able to handle the situation when it re-arises, which it will in most cases, that they can go and they can take care of this stuff, or just go, oh yeah, that's Casper running around again, or not be afraid when they say, well, just will you be quiet, please,
Educate them.
The educational part is the biggest thing. Here's a good one. The other night, getting ready to go to bed, got the TV off, we're gonna let the dog out, TV goes back on. I turned around, I said, really, is there something on that you want to watch? TV went off. Didn't bother me. Went to sleep. And the big thing is that that's how I want people to look at these things, that they're naturally occurring. And I'm going to be honest with you, there's some really nasty things out there, some lower end, lower vibrations and that, but they don't stick around when there is the light of being positive, and they don't stick around when you are in control. The whole idea is, it's almost as if like the stage is a temporal possession. It wants to tear you down. It wants you to be beaten down. And when you don't accept it, if you don't understand it, you kind of accept it. You're like, well, I don't know, and you allow it to go on. And then when you do have the tools and you say, no, just cut it out, go away. Do you know how many times, guys, that I get on the Ouija board and I get Zozo? And I'm on the Ouija board and it goes Z-Z-O-Z-O. I can go and I can hear people's rectums crunch up when they hear it, because they're like, oh no. And it's like, yeah, okay, pal. You know what? And that's a perfect example of it. Because if they were to let this thing go on, this may be a parasitical spirit, this may be a trickster spirit, it could be anything. It's going to go take advantage. It's going to take advantage. No, you're not going to take advantage of me. You're not going to take advantage of people I'm with. Get going. Get going. We're looking for somebody else. Roll on out, baby. Go down the street. Go hang out wherever you're going to hang out, but you're not hanging out here, And never had a problem after that.
Yeah, you give people tools. It's just like the old biblical saying, you teach a man to fish, you feed him for life.
This is exactly it. And I'll tell you what, 90% of the people that we have trouble with, or that have a lot of trouble, are people who have lost some kind of a faith. Now, I'm not a religious guy. I don't really like even the spiritualist religion. I have problems. I have problems with all religions, but I don't have a problem with spirituality. And I think people that lack spirituality are the people that kind of, they're become dormant. You have to really watch that. Sometimes, in the case of Krista Cesare, I mean, he was a real religious kid, So, I mean, sometimes they are targeted, but in most cases, people lack something. They lack the true the deep spirituality that is needed to go and control these situations.
Right.
And, I mean, that I can't teach, but I can try to encourage.
All right. The great Michelle Harold.
Hi, great Michelle.
Michelle. Question for Tim. What was Raymond Buckland like?
Oh my God, Buck was great. I first met Buck in Lilydale years ago. So he was teaching classes, but I didn't even know who the hell he was. I knew the name. I knew because of all my friends that are in the craft circles, or they're Wiccan or whatever. And I had gone and I was sitting on the porch of the Maplewood. That's where the elite meet. And this short, little skinny guy with this big shock of white hair and his white beard sits next to me. And he, we, as most people in Lilydale do, you just kind of, get a conversation going. And we started talking, and he was telling about when he was a kid during the Blitz, during World War II. Fascinating, just fascinating. So he got up, he goes, I got to go. And I'm thinking he's got to go to a class. He's, to a class. And the guy goes, do you know who that was? He goes, that's Ray Buckland. I go, no, that ain't Ray Buckland. Come on. What's Ray Buckland doing over here? And it was Ray. And I got to tell you what, he was a great person. He was a nice guy. He was a chick magnet, man. I'll just tell you that right now. He was a chick magnet. I don't know how his wife put up with him, but Tara, she's so nice. But he was just so friendly. He was great. He was great at giving advice. An unbelievable teacher. Patient. He always used to drive a sports car. He was an Uberman. He was a Renaissance guy. Not only was he mystical, but he had a hobby farm. He was a writer. He learned how to weld. He used to fly, biplane. Amazing. He was just a Renaissance guy, and fascinating, just fascinating. But I will tell you guys, and you'll appreciate this as interviewers, out of respect, the first time I had him on one of my shows, I said, Ray, I'm going to give you the questions. These are the questions I want to cover. And he goes, oh, you don't have to do that. And I said, well, please let me, I respect you this much. And he goes, okay. He answered all 12 questions in the first 10 minutes in 2 breaths.
Yeah, right. And
what he's going to do. He was so great. But you know what? I loved him. I really did. I love him to death. And I miss him. Because he was a font of knowledge. And it just wasn't the wicked knowledge, but it was like he knew so much. And people really didn't realize this, but at the end of his life, he was getting into Victorian fiction. He was writing Victorian fiction, and it was great because he could just, get part of it, just get into that. And the way he wrote, you could visualize it. And I know the curator of the Buckland Museum of Witchcraft and Magic in Cleveland, Ohio. And I love going there. I just, I walk in there and I see one of his ceremonial robes, and I see the valise of Gerald Gardner. I mean, it's a huge name. All the things that he had, and it just makes me sad that so many people right now are starting to forget him and what he meant to bringing a lost art, a lost religion, a lost spirituality to fruition back. One of the greatest things he ever told me was they were having a circle down in his basement. I think it was in New Jersey. It's one of my favorite stories. And they're all sky-clad. Everybody's naked, right? They're all doing their ritual. And the furnace in the basement malfunctioned, and it would backfire. And there was a mattress close to the furnace, and the mattress started on fire. Somebody called the fire department because all these naked people are running out of his house. I can't even imagine that, But he suffered discrimination. He got outed. He did an article that somebody asked, about a newspaper or to do like a local article, and they said, well, you could use my feet or whatever, along with the pentacle on the floor, but you can't use your face. And they used his face, and they burned his car. They burned his car in retribution and stuff. So I mean, it's like and this is not that long ago. So, but Ray was just a great guy and just fascinating. You know what? You could sit there for hours, literally sit there for hours, not say a word, and just let him talk. Just let him talk. And I'm so blessed that I think I've gotten like 4 or 5 interviews with him that I have on. I just every so often I'll bring them out. Oh yeah, the big red book and the big blue book. They're fantastic. And if you go to the museum, you'll see this little marble, the little marble school books. I believe that was it's all handwritten. That was his manuscript for the red book. They have that there. That's amazing to see. And they have so many of his things that he had in storage and, when he had his museum. But it's a great place. If you guys go, I try to go there a few times a year. I've taught classes there and stuff. It's great.
Where's it at?
It's in Cleveland, Ohio. Okay. And if you go to Cleveland, then you got to stop at the haunted restaurant where it's like it's a horror theme restaurant. So it's like goes hand in hand. You got to do that. You got to just do that. But I live 3 hours away from Cleveland, so I love going to Cleveland. We go to Cleveland a lot.
Joe Frezza, question: what
Hi, Joe.
was one of the most important lessons you've learned? I'm just going to add thus far.
thus
And I'm going to
far.
add in the paranormal.
Well, I'll tell you the big thing. It's belief. You've got to have belief. That's the big thing. Without belief, everything is flat. Why are you doing it? You know, why are we part of this without belief? I believe that it enriches me. It's gotten me through all my, you know, and my past health issues, my future health issues. It'll get me through. And you know, I mean, it gives you something to look for. I know a lot of like agnostics and atheists that know that they feel that there's nothing beyond this life, and that's great. But for me, I would feel empty. And to me, belief is what really fills me. And also with belief, it walks hand in hand with the wonderment. And I still have that wonderment of a child. You know, I'll be 67 this year, and I have that wonderment of being with it, you know, like being a kid again. And that's what keeps me going. So belief equals, you know, it just keeps going. And that's what I love about it. So belief is is my big thing that I've learned that is so important in my life.
Let me ask you.
And so on top of everything else, George, we're the same age.
Yes.
See?
I mean,
there's something like really weird about this show tonight.
Yeah.
And we are beautiful, George. Listen, we are beautiful. We are beautiful. Take a good
look. The website is 23andMe. So you guys make sure you check out your DNA, find out what's going on here.
Listen, guys. I'll let you know. I'll just give you a little bit of my bio. I had a grandfather up in New England, was married 7 times but never divorced. So there's a real good chance that we may be related somewhere along the tree.
What are you trying to say here?
You're looking like one of the relatives. I'll just let you know.
Well, then I want to call Zaffis in on this too, because
yeah, I used to call him Uncle Johnny until he got mad at me. Now he's my slightly 3-month older brother.
Hey, listen, buddy, don't mess with that.
I'm telling you, Ken, I'm just going to tell you something. You just watch that Shaw. Just watch that Shaw. I'm just telling you that, Ken.
I'm leaving you guys to do the impression so I don't get in trouble, because John will check out quick enough.
Johnny.
Let's stick with belief for a second. I have 2 very profound questions that came to my mind sometime in the middle of last week, and I wrote them down because I'm like, this is topical. Number 1, science right now is really on this quantum realm trip.
Right.
And I'm wondering what your thoughts were. If there are different dimensions,
big time,
are there different gods in each dimension? Is it the same God? Doesn't matter what the hierarchy is. Doesn't matter what the dimension is.
I'm going to be honest with you. I have trouble with God. I have trouble with that. Universal intelligence or whatever. I believe everything's vibratory. I believe memories are vibratory. I believe intelligence is vibratory. So I really don't have, it's hard for me to pinpoint like a universal God or a God in different dimensions. I believe that if it is quantum, if I believe that there's all these different dimensions, I believe everything works on a vibrational scale. So I truly believe that everything comes from this vibrational scale. My whole belief in the afterlife is not like the Summerland or I know that's heresy to a lot of spiritualists, but my belief in the afterlife is actually becoming a vibration and shedding my personality and my ego so that I can become one vibration with all, this great vibration. And I believe that the great vibration is what affects every dimension.
Here's the interesting part. And I forget who it was, Ken, that we had on. We were talking about this, but the concept of rather than heaven being somewhere up here, out there, that our spirits and our energy is still one with the earth. It's actually subterranean.
It could be.
When things would pop up from an energy aspect, whether it's spirit, whether it's reincarnation, it's just re-emerging, if you will. And you wonder sometimes, because we talked about USOs, unidentified submerged objects, whether or not most of what we're experiencing from there also tends to be from down below, that it really is not atmospheric. But
There is so much. There's so much out there that
to discover. Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's the wonderment of what we do, and I think that's why it's so important for all of us to really just sit down and just think,
And
and
it's
you know,
why Ken keeps Cody and Satori away from me, because I would drive him nuts.
They're out on the deck right now.
They see. So, all right. Second question in the belief subject
Sure.
is free will, which we all talk about. We talk about that with our clients when it's a residential, even
Mhm.
commercial. But if free will is such a big factor, then how can someone be sent to the proverbial hell? How can you be sent to hell if you have the free will not to go?
Well, that's exactly it. I don't believe in heaven or hell. I really don't. So I believe that free will allows us to work and manifest within the sphere of our own bodies and our own auric fields. And I'm a firm believer in intent. I'm a firm believer in projection of intent, and I'm a firm believer in again energy, because I really am. I've seen this. I've seen it in action. I've seen what it can do. So I have a thing where I don't believe it, because hell is man made, heaven is man made. It's all part of it's all part of a grand scheme by different religious leaders to go and control the masses. And the problem with religion is the fact that religions all start out great. They all start out pure, and then they become influenced by people who wish to add control or dominate or whatever, for whatever reason, and then they become perverted. And that's the problem. If you start looking into the basis of so many religions, you start seeing the good, you start seeing everything, and then you got to strip away all of that in order
The human
to go.
factor of faith.
Exactly. Yeah. And people don't get that, because we're so, I went to a Roman Catholic school, parochial school, and that was pounded into your brain, and back then even purgatory was still around, the Roman Catholic Church allowed the belief in purgatory. And I was so afraid of doing that. And now I'm not afraid of going to hell for my actions. I have free will. I will say that there may be karma, there may be a boomerang effect. Something may come back at me. I don't know. But
could be self-judgment.
I choose to be, the master of my own destiny if I can at all help it. And you know what? Again, I don't go out of my way to hurt anybody. I don't go out of my way to, to mess around with anybody. I have people that come up to me, go, Tim, well, you're a caster, man. I need this and that, and this person is an asshole, or this. Not going to do it. I don't do that. I will pray and set intent that your situation gets better with that person, but I will never go after that. My friend Witch Doctor Atu from up in Canada is a great person, and I mean, I look at him, and I've learned so much from him, and he is like, yes, I can do that. I can do negative stuff, but I choose not to. I choose to empower and support rather than punish. And that's the way. And I do know people that, well, I do work for other people, and there's negative stuff that other people don't want to do. And then I say, take a look at your life. You tell me if your life is better because you're doing that stuff.
It's funny. Ken has a very articulate, meticulous description of the origins of the idea of hell that he's talked about before. And it's very, very simplistic. Again, how religions have taken or borrowed.
They borrow from other cultures and
exactly
other literature.
Exactly.
To sum it up in a nutshell.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. Okay. This is a two-parter here, Ken. Two-parter question from Matthew. Here we go.
Yeah. Let's get that up there. Okay. Yeah. You mentioned a parasitical entity as a possibility that matches a characteristic that people call demons and or a jinn. So doesn't experiencing a parasitical entity give some credibility to what multiple religions have reported over many millennia?
For years, I was like adamant about demons and all that other stuff. No, and I was sitting I was sitting having cigars and some bourbon with an exorcist friend of mine, a bishop, and he goes, Tim, I just don't understand why you don't believe in this stuff. And I said, well, Jim, I don't, I can't fathom it. I just can't, why would there be something like that? He goes, what do you call something that's so negative that like attacks and hates human beings? I said, well, that's the lowest form of energy you can have. That's a personality that is distraught. That's a personality that has some kind of challenge to it. That is so. He goes, it's semantics. What you call this lower energy, I call a demon. It was like my aha. It was an epiphany.
Labeling.
Exactly. So to me, now that's why, I always tell people, and a lot of people really poo-poo the Christian faith, and I don't. And that's not because I was brought up Roman Catholic. I believe that we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Mm-hmm. Every faith has something to it that we can learn. Just because we call something different than somebody else doesn't mean that it isn't there. Locally, we have a guy that's on a fast track to being a Roman Catholic saint, the Blessed Monsignor Nelson Baker. What the Roman Catholic faith calls these little miracles, we call bilocation. We just call them by a different name. That's all. It's labeling. That's all it is. And that epiphany changed my entire way of thinking. So it's like, that's why when we go to counsel somebody, we go to talk to somebody, we got to make sure that, what were you taught? So we can use the right terminology and slowly, get them to go and kind of open their eyes to something maybe a little bit different and give them the control over it. Because I've seen teams go into houses and say, you've got a demon in here. And it's like, my God, that's blasphemy. What's wrong with you? Now you get in your car, you drive away. These poor people still have to deal with the psychological damage that you've done. No, yeah. You work with it. And it's the terminology. And that to me is so important. But yeah, that was a great question because it's just labeling. We label things. Everybody, the way I was taught is different from the way you guys were taught. Yet we're talking about the exact same thing.
Yeah, within that argument, you can turn that around and say, at the same time, the Catholic Church says you're not speaking to spirits. There's only the Holy Ghost. So you're not speaking to spirits. You're speaking to demons. Well, let's categorize that also. So, the argument is just a revolving wheel constantly.
Yes, and that's what it is. So that's where everything falls under the whole concept of faith, of your belief system. And, I'm not going to go, and it's not my job to go. And in the spiritualist religion is huge on this. It's not our job to go out there and convert people. We are not a religion of conversion. We are a religion of conviction. So if people find us, like what they hear, and it resonates with them, fine, that's perfect. But if it doesn't, don't worry about it. No harm, no foul. You find what works for you, and that's what's important. But the big thing is to work within the parameters of your belief system, where that's where people sometimes are not doing. They're not, they don't have those boundaries, and they're really fluid, and that's where they can get into trouble. That's where you have to really watch it. And like, just because I have, if I do seance or whatever I'm doing, I do an opening prayer, I do a closing prayer. Always open my sessions, always close my sessions. That's the way I was taught. That's the way I feel is safe. But other people don't do that. The problem comes in is when people just go out there mindlessly and do something, and then you get a blowback and something happens. And then you get that action where these people are now suffering. So you have to go and, it's all, again, we were talking about belief. Everything works within your belief system, your personal belief system.
I want to, not much of a pushback, I would say, but when we use, or whomever uses the word demonic, they're kind of playing into popular mores and
Oh my
popular
God, yeah.
impressions. So we can argue semantics, certainly, but there's already a preconceived idea that
Right.
exists. What a demon is, what they can do, what they're capable of.
Well, look
what
at
they have done.
look at Ouija boards, Ken. Let's
So
look
you've
at
got
Ouija boards. When did they get
fear
when
ingrained.
did they get really vilified? Now, if you go
1972, The Exorcist.
exactly. Before then, if you start looking at you look at there is all sorts of newspaper articles out there about how bad they are and all this. The Ouija board made me do this, and this is what the Ouija board said, and blah 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 blah. All this negative stuff. Yet it was used as a game. That's what it was. It was a parlor game. Same thing with a lot of the Victorian stuff with all parlor games. 1972 comes by, bang.
Yep.
It gets sensationalized. I myself was shocked and I wouldn't use a Ouija board after
You probably remember the protests outside the
my
theater.
God, I remember the barf bags that they were handing out.
You couldn't buy better publicity than
God,
Warner Brothers got or Universal got than the protesters.
Exactly. And this is why people, we vilify so much. We vilify, in case of a Ouija board, piece of cardboard and paper and plastic. We vilify it. But it's that belief system that goes in the preconceived notion that we've been taught. Our biggest problem, my biggest problem with my own self has been going and tearing down the walls that I was taught as a young child and reinforced in school, and being able to go and make some kind of peaceful transition into a personal spirituality. That was terrible. I still struggle with it. I'm not going to lie. I still struggle with it. But, it was amazing because I would go to Catholic school during the school year, and I would go to visit my relatives in Lilydale and go to Lyceum and learn all this stuff and hang out with mediums and stuff during the summer. And it was tough to reconcile that. But I did. And it's the unbuilding of walls. It's taking down the stones of the wall one at a time, slowly, to find your truth. And I think that's a lot of what we're not taught today. I don't think that a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on finding your own truth in order to go and build that spirituality up. And that's society, because that's just the way, we're run now. I mean, we unfortunately as a society, I mean, you're either white or black. There's no gray area. There's no area for us to learn. There's no area for us to be able to go and grow, and without some kind of conflict. And, with me, it was a little bit easier because my dad, the religion's been in my family since the 1880s. So my father's side. So, I mean, I was able to go and, kind of slide in there.
Yeah.
But
here's an example of that, though. Where on the instructions for Ouija boards that it says you have to light candles, take it to a dark attic, a basement, or a cemetery? We do that.
Exactly. Bingo.
We are the X factor.
Yes, we are.
Whatever everybody's intention is. Okay. Wait. I'm receiving a news bulletin here. Oh, okay. We may have a drive-by here, so. Oh wait. All right, we're heading out. Bye.
I love you guys. Be safe. Be beautiful. I'm telling you. And Satori, your jewelry looks phenomenal. Oh my God, it looks phenomenal.
Thank you.
And I'm just and Cody, I'm just going to tell you something. Don't make me come north and spank you if you go and mistreat that young lady ever, because I will do it. I might be old, but I can almost take you. I can still almost take you.
That explains why he's been going to the gym a lot lately. And now we know why.
Oh, he was showing off his guns.
Somebody's got to have that, baby.
He was showing off his guns. Yeah,
he's got the gun show, baby. I only got one good side. The other side is beat up.
Out of the two of us, Mr. Shaw, out of the two of us, I'm far scarier. So my dad had to warn him of me when he asked for my name.
You're right. And I'm just going to tell you, Satori, knowing your dad, you take after him more than you want to admit. I'm just telling you that right now. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm just so sweet. Oh, Cody. Yeah,
it's
just
terrifying.
Just go to don't worry about it, Cody. Oh no, that argument wasn't that important, Cody. Yeah, just go. Yeah, time to go to bed, Cody. Yeah, just go to bed. Yeah, okay.
There was a reason why when Cody asked for permission to propose to me, my dad literally told him, "Are you sure?" like he was like, "This is a warning. She's a lot." So there's a reason.
There's still time to run, son.
It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. But I love you guys so much. You know what? It's so great to see you guys. Thanks for hopping on. You made my night. You really did. You made my night. I really do. You know, I just wish we could seriously do like that event, a spiritualist event really together. Cool. That would be a lot of fun. That would be really cool. Old school. Let's do old school, baby.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do old school.
Exactly.
Bye, guys. Be safe. Be safe.
Cody and Satori, ladies and gentlemen. So that's awesome. All right. Their timing couldn't have been any better. We are out of time, Tim, but we want you to hang in there. Don't hang up from your end yet, but we do have to end the show here. But once again, tell everybody when your show is and where they can find it, because you have a lot to educate people on.
Well, I don't know about a lot to educate people on there, but
yes.
I can prattle. I can prattle like an old lady, you know. The Black Cat Lounge is heard on Thursday night or on Tuesday nights. I'm sorry, Tuesday nights. I broadcast it on Facebook. You can find it on YouTube. It's on my website, www.timothytshaw.com, and we're at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And real quickly, last night was the official opening of a gallery show in at Market Street in Lockport, New York. At
first time that you were out there, yeah.
247, and it's my very first time displaying my photos in public, which was a great thrill. And as anybody knows, for the most part, I love Gothic themes and that sort of thing. So,
well, it was. I would say it's some of your best nudes so far, Tim.
Well, I am. Listen, I am beautiful. You know,
hey, man.
We'll end it on that note, ladies and gentlemen.
I love you guys. Thank you guys. It was an honor to be on this show with you guys. It truly was. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody else hanging in there and listening in.
Absolutely. And we'll see you guys, our Patreon members, tomorrow night in the town hall. The rest of you, we'll see you next Sunday. We got some interesting stuff coming up. We'll be talking about that. Yes. Don't forget to hit that reminder bell. On behalf of Ken DaCosta, my name is George Lopez. Thanks for watching Dead Air, guys. We'll see you next week. Have a good week. Take care.